Why are you doing laundry in the sink? Where are you now? I'm in China. And we don't have a washing machine. Hello dear friends, we're in Anji County. Today is a big day. We chose 3 types of Anji Bai Cha from one of our farmers, and now we're sorting it, trying to get rid of big yellow leaves, or huan pian. This tea is aromatic. We chose 3 types, simple, moderate, and the best, which is called here huang jinya, or yellow golden buds. This is typical Anji Bai Cha, white tea from Anji. It looks like green tea. However, when being brewed, it opens into beautiful white leaves. The fragrance is wonderful. It has soft floral notes with distinguishable sweetness. It's quite unusual in comparison with other white teas. We'll go to the factory. I hope soon we'll see how it's made. In regions that produce green tea, white tea, and even some red teas, tea is often brewed in glasses instead of a gaiwan, a cup with a lid. Gaiwans are used by some tea lovers, but not so often. They put a little bit of tea and boiling water into the glass to feel the tea's aroma. After that, more water is added. They often add hot water while they're drinking. This variant of tea brewing can be used for degustation, especially for bud teas. The aroma opens nicely in translucent glasses. However, according to my experience, degustation of all teas, including green and white, and all the rest really, should be done properly with a gaiwan. Nevertheless, tasting tea from a glass is better than nothing. It has its strengths. It's visually appealing and good for the aroma. So you can actually evaluate tea this way. But given the choice, I would always rather use a gaiwan for a degustation because it's more traditional and I can assess the tea better. As I was saying, we chose 3 teas, huang jinya and 2 Anji Bai Chas. One of them is from high mountains. These Anji Bai Cha differ from each other by aroma, aftertaste, and some notes. Highland Anji Bai Cha, that's grown in the mountains, has a complex and more interesting aroma in comparison with lowland Anji Bai Cha. Huang jinya is more distinguishable from Anji Bai Cha. It has notes of bread, and it changes from brewing to brewing. I would say it's a nice selection, but there will be more. The owner of this basket shop says that he doesn't have a lot of stock to choose from because all the workers are busy picking tea. Yes, Yarek. Yes, for cigarettes. We don't need it. When all the tea is picked, the workers weave baskets. However, all the workers have been picking tea for a whole month now. So the shop owner grumbles that he has little in stock. The locals are business-minded. How to make money when all the tea is picked? You weave baskets. Today is the last day of Anji Bai Cha production. The rainy season is coming, so they have to finish their work. Several factories may keep working for a day or two, but not this one. Today is the 22nd of April, and as I mentioned in other videos, in northern provinces, the harvest season is strictly followed. Xingming tea is picked on Xingming Festival around the 5th of April. Later here will be the rainy season, also known as Gui Yui, or bread rains. Thus workers have to finish the tea production. Anji Bai Cha and Huang Jianya teas are made here. All the production processes take place right here, from drying to roasting. It's a big factory, so teas are being processed by machines. Many teas share the first processing step, withering. It's a simple process. Fresh tea leaves are spread out evenly, all placed on ventilated boxes. The latter is preferable for Anji Bai Cha. Right now, a very rare tea is withering here, yellow golden buds. You can see how little raw material is here. There are only 3 trays for the whole factory. This is a different kind of tea. It has a softer taste and aroma. is closer to yellow tea, but different people have different opinions. Some call it green or Anji Bai Cha. Locals, however, call it white tea. But I'd like to say that it's very different from Anji Bai Cha. The next step after withering is roasting, killing the green. The process is automated. The tea is shaken and roasted at the same time by natural gas in these machines. There are 4 machines here in this workshop. When the tea is done, it goes further on the conveyor. By the way, when Longjing and several other teas are processed by machine, they can be flattened by placing special steel rods in these machines. Anji Bai Cha is never flattened, so there are no rods. A worker puts the tea onto the conveyor belt, and it goes along further to the trays. After roasting, the tea still has some moisture in it, and the next step is drying. After the shaking is finished, the tea automatically comes out from here onto the trays. The trays are taken from here and put into this rack, and then the next step happens, further drying. The drying cycle is around 7 to 10 minutes. After drying, it turns into Moychay. It only needs to be sorted then, and that's it. The tea is processed. The workers are loading the new trays into the drying machine. These Chinese characters can be translated as baking, rise of aroma, and machine. It can be translated as a machine that intensifies aroma of tea via baking. Below the characters there's more writing. It says 25-year State Plan of Technical Support. I don't know exactly what that means, but the government somehow supports either manufacturers of these machines or the farmers who use them. The entire Anji Bai Cha shipment is ready. Now it's time for 3 small trays of Huangjinya. One machine tool already finished its program, and there are 2 trays to go. Huangjinya is processed separately. This is the final step, not only for our tea, but also for the entire factory. These are the last minutes of processing of the last tea shipment in this year. Despite the fact that it's nearly dinner time, people are still picking tea. There are several reasons for this. The first one is that it's the end of the harvest season, and the second one is the climate. Due to northern weather, the harvest season is really short, 20 or 22 days maximum. Here is not like in the southern provinces, where tea can be collected all year round. There's nothing but the spring harvest. This is the reason why people weave baskets in their free time. Because 1 month of work is not enough for hard-working Chinese. In comparison with Yunnan tea bushes, where workers have to build an improvised scaffold in order to pick the tea, these bushes are tiny. You actually need to sit down to pick the tea comfortably, like this old lady. After harvesting, all the bushes are pruned almost to the ground level, and then they're left untouched until next year. It's a very pleasing view of Anji River. It connects with Taihu Lake near Yixing. Everything is very dense and compact in this region. This river is still being used for cargo transportation, despite the fact that there's a very developed road network. We saw several barges go by in the last 10 minutes. There are no high mountains in Anji County, but local farmers do have a term for highland tea. It's called Gaoshan. In this case, Gaoshan cha can be picked at the altitude of 400 to 500 meters. These are prune tea bushes. As I said, the bushes are being cut in half or even more. You can see what remains by looking at the length of this cut part. They prune nearly all of the bush. That's why the bushes are so short. Later, the bushes will have new shoots that will then be harvested. This is what a Huangjinya bush looks like. They're really small. It reminds me of some Wishan teas and Bandiguan. They're also small and produce a very little amount of raw material. Anji Bai Cha bushes are much bigger and have more leaves on them in comparison with Huangjinyo. Huangjinyo leaves have a yellow color. The tea was picked here recently. Here there are some leaves left, but the flush has been picked. We just saw how it's processed at the factory. Huangjinyo is considered better than Anji Bai Cha, mostly because it has nicer leaves. I always taste the fresh flush when I can, because it's possible to evaluate the quality of the tea by tasting the flush. The taste is very nice, and it's used in a lot of Yunnan dish recipes with tea leaves. It's really sweet. It tastes like fresh lettuce or even cabbage. The workers just brought in the last tea that they picked. The factory owner says that the last tea has nothing special. The leaves are big, and it doesn't have extra flavour or anything, unlike Xingming teas, which do. But Xingming has much bigger buds and a much higher price. But the final harvest of Anji Bai Cha isn't considered special. Dinner is always on time. I've noticed that when it's closer to old Chinese borders, closer to Hangzhou and Beijing, people are more punctual. Dinner starts at 5 p.m. sharp. It's 5:03 right now. Everyone brought their food and are starting to eat dinner. 35 kilograms of freshly picked tea are put on ventilated boxes for withering. It took 5 hours and 20 workers to pick it. So you can tell that a lot of labour was invested into it. Of course, there'll be much less tea after it's processed. The trees behind me are osmanthus trees, guihua in Chinese. Osmanthus blooms in August and has the most wonderful aroma. I'd love to experience it once again, but it's April now and it's not blooming. The factory owner invited us to his garden to show us some rare orchids he has. Interesting flower pots. I recognize the design. I saw similar in Yixing. He has a small garden with flowers and bonsai trees. Enjoy your tea.